Okay, so we're videotaping the slot car racetrack parts to be able to find out how to maintain these things once again. Here we are with Oliver from Professor Motor Slot Car Racing out in Saline.
Okay,
so this is the controller.
Yep, we're just going to take a little bit on a Q-tip, a little bit of lighter fluid first. And you're going to kind of put it in there, kind of swipe up and down, get the grooves cleaned in there, and then you can move this.
And that helps for connectivity.
Yep, you can see all the...
Oh my gosh, look at all that.
Off of
That's a lot of crap. You can see on this one right here too, it's pretty dirty.
Yeah.
That's that little...
I'd probably do this twice, but for the purpose of the video, I'll show it to you here. Okay. So again, once you've cleaned it, you want to take just a drop. I mean, ever so small a drop.
Yeah.
And then the same sort of thing. You want to just wipe it along the swiper pad. Just up and down. You don't want to put too much of that stuff in there so it's leaking all down.
Yeah.
Just a drop on the Q-tip, and now it's nice and smooth.
Okay, that'll work. And this oil is...
That's the super lube stuff that you have.
Which I have over here, and I'm going to show you what that container looks like so we don't put something wrong on it. We've already got a whole container, but we haven't even opened it yet. Super lube. It's specifically one drop for cleaning the controllers. Now, the super lube, is that also used for the maintenance of the motors?
You can. You have some other oil in there too. You have some high-speed stuff.
Well, they spilt it everywhere. So this is for the motors right here, Ultimate Racing Oil.
So what you have to be careful of, this stuff is not plastic compatible. Okay. So as long as everything you're touching with this is metal, you're cool.
Okay.
But you get that on other stuff and it'll eat it away. Like, it doesn't like plastic. That's why the super lube stuff we use on the controllers and stuff.
Right.
Because there's plastic triggers and plastic handles and stuff.
Yep.
So super lube is good with plastic.
Okay. Now, can you show me how to where to put the oil on a motor? There's one with the cover off it.
Yeah.
All right.
So with this, you don't want to don't want to oil on this side.
Gotcha.
You only want to oil out here where that bushing is.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. You can oil up here where it's coming through here.
Okay.
We don't got any real bearings in there, but it's metal to metal in there, so you can get some oil in there.
Okay.
Okay, and then you got two bearings back here. You have a bearing here.
Mm-hmm.
I can get some oil out of there. Good night, Chris. See you tomorrow, man. Thank you. Yep. I can get some out of here.
Yeah, because I'm going to need it.
There's one left. There's a little drop. Okay.
Okay.
So then you oil on the bearings in there.
And then so it's all really for bearings then. Mm-hmm. It's not for the motor itself.
Not for the motor itself. It's got a bushing or bearing. It's really called a bushing, I guess. Not technically a bearing, but so it's a bushing here, the bushings in the back, and then where the motor's coming through up at the front there.
Okay, that'll work. So. And that's maintenance for the actual body of the engine area.
The engine and the chassis.
Now, is there any maintenance on the motor?
No.
The motor stays the same?
Yep. Yeah,
okay.
The same.
And then that's pretty much it. Now these tires, and to take them off,
there's a set screw in there.
I had a set screw. My set screws, some of them have stripped. So
the drivers?
Yeah. I don't. Now it may have been actually my screwdriver. Yeah, that one I want to say it keeps rotating within. Like, I think that needs to be locked down.
The bit needs to. Yeah. Oh, it needs to be locked, or it's actually stripped.
I think it. I don't know if it can be locked down or not, but you can try and turn it. I couldn't.
Yeah, it feels like something's going on there.
Yeah, it does. But then when I kept looking at it, it wasn't coming out. So I think that this actual bit,
yeah, something must be twisting in there. The bit feels like it's fitting good. The bit feels like it's good.
Right.
Like, it doesn't look like it's rounded off, so it doesn't.
I think it's fitting in there. Now we do have an Allen wrench that we used for taking parts off, and that's basically what that is, isn't it? An Allen wrench.
I'm gonna try just a different wheel just for kicks.
Yeah, no problem. And the set screw is on the inside of each tire, one screw that loosens the tire to be able to take it off and replace it.
Yeah, because
Or work on it if necessary.
in there.
So this piece here that he's using is kind of stripped, and that's why I was having difficulty taking tires off.
Let me see if I can tighten
We're going to pause this too.
I'll see if I can.
And we're working with Professor Motor. That's where you can order parts. We were also, excuse me, Oliver and I talking about tires, and there is a silicone covered tire, and then there's a solid silicone tire. The difference between the two is you can see the indication of which is which by the rim. The rim here is a solid silicone tire that doesn't require they'll last forever, in other words, and that's just a couple dollars more than this type of tire, which is a tire that you can see the rim is a little different, and you can see the shininess of that silicone covered tire, which over time will eventually wear away, and then you'll need to re-silicone them, which requires a process. That one's really tore up, and that's a different rim as well. But you can see this one better, indicating the silicone covered tire. And its need for maintenance, you said, Oliver, was to use what again?
On the cars or what
On the tires to re-silicone them if need be.
There's a flowable windshield adhesive, a 3M flowable windshield adhesive.
Okay.
That you can get at an automotive parts store.
Yep.
And you can use that to recoat the tires. If you
And you just roll it in there.
You got to kind of roll it through to kind of coat the entire tire. Then you got to keep it kind of in motion until it sets because it's flowable.
Mm-hmm.
If you roll it through and coat it and then just let it set, it's all going to want to run down to one end, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for the first 5 to 10 minutes, you just got to kind of have it in your hand, kind of just gently kind of spinning it or whatever till it sets up. And then once it sets up after about 10 minutes, then you can let it dry and, and set up all the way.
Okay. And you can do that like three
you
coats.
you can put like 3 coats on it. If you
Okay.
want. So here's what's going on here. This was down in here further.
Mm-hmm.
What happens is there's a flat spot on this.
Mm-hmm.
So when this went in farther, it wasn't catching that flat spot. So what was happening was the screw was on the round part and it wasn't grabbing it.
So it was stripped somehow.
Yeah, so now it's tight. So now
Okay.
you're good to go.
Okay, so now I'll be able to take that set screw off the tire and remove a tire. Just pretty simple to see. When you peel that rubber back, that silicone tire back, you'll be able to see a. Oh yeah, there he goes. He took it right off. And it's just one. When you take it off, it's just the axle that it's on, and it fits right on a new set of tires. And we're gonna get some tires, a solid silicone, because they're kind of gonna last indefinitely for the most part, and you won't have to do the maintenance or the re-siliconing of a tire that's been the silicone's coming off of. So in other words, and then to maintain the tires, be them solid silicone or not, you said you use lighter fluid.
Only if you get a heavy buildup on it. Normally, the normal maintenance, just what you guys been doing.
Which is the lint brush.
Yep.
Roll the tire on a lint brush.
So whoever's running the race, after they do 10 minute heat or whatever, boom, you just hit it with a
lint brush.
Get the stuff off. If you get a thick buildup over time because maybe somebody ran some races for a long time and never really used the lint brush, then you can take a lighter fluid on the solid tires, and you can kind of get that to scrape off, so to speak, and with a rag and lighter fluid, it'll take off any thick buildup.
Okay, very good. So that's maintenance on the tires, and then we already talked about the chassis as far as where to lubricate that. There's no maintenance on the motors, and I think that's it for now. The tires are about $13 for a pair of 2. The braids, which are, okay, need a sample? There we go. These are the contact braids for the track. Those are $40 for a set of 30.
$4.75.
A pair of 30. And, 30 pair rather. I'll get it right. And then there's $5 for that little container of oil if we need that. We've got a little bit left, which we'll use since we only need a drop, several, maybe 5 or 6 drops per car. And if we need more, we can always get it from them here. But, yeah, and then the rubber bands were the other things, which are drive belts. They're known as drive belts. You can see that in there. And those are a couple dollars a piece, I believe. Yeah. Oh, nope. There's not one on that. Oh, yeah, there it is. You can very easily see that. There's the drive belt. Right. Ooh, hard to record, and there's the drive belt. And those are a couple dollars a piece. They don't really stretch out drive belts, do they?
Not really. I mean,
Okay, they either break or they're working.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think they'll get like loose to the point where they just kind of flap around and fall off.
Mm-hmm. And what are your thoughts on magnets again? Do you ever bother putting a magnet on the front of a car? Keep it down?
You could put, I mean, where you primarily want it is on the back, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you primarily want it where you kind of had it on a lot of those cars that I saw is, you just want to make sure that it's in this area,
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to go obviously behind there. There's hardly anything behind the rear axle anyways, but you just don't want to go behind it. You could put a little bit up here if you really wanted to. If they're getting a little light in
The front end?
in the front end.
The other thing, what was happening is one of my guys was taking the thicker magnet, which is substantially thicker compared to this magnet, and he was putting it on the back here.
Well, that's actually going to hurt you.
Okay.
Because what that'll do is that it'll cause the car to do wheelies.
Ah,
Because
okay.
it acts, it's using this point, and it's, if it's on this side of the wheel, it's pushing down here. Once it gets past the axle point going this way, it's pushing down here, which is making it light in the nose.
Maybe that's why he was putting it down there and then putting a magnet in the front.
Yeah, because it is
counterbalancing itself. Okay. And then the controllers, which I don't have in here, there are not controllers, but the, give me a second. The power source, because I ended up getting those 4 different power packs.
Okay.
What are those things called?
Well, you can call them transformers, I guess.
Transformers. Now, does it matter how high they go up? I mean, I know they can go up to whatever 15 amp or something like that.
Yeah, well, the amperage is a function of how much current's being drawn on the track, so that'll just happen automatically.
Okay.
As far as your voltage, most likely on the tracks that you're running, you're probably not even touching 12.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think.
No, we were starting it at 6, which is where the original individual battery source came from. They said keep it at like 6, but then with the new magnets and we got the magnetic braid on the track,
Yeah, you go a little bit faster.
we can go faster.
Yep.
And we were trying to go faster for the kids and for some older kids and for adults even. But you can't. In other words, I guess my question is, you can't max them out. You can't hurt it, can you?
No, you won't hurt it. No.
Okay, we can't harm anything. That was the main question.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, yeah, you won't damage nothing there. I mean, it's.
Okay, we're not going to burn the motor out anymore. We're not going to.
Well, to the speeds at which you guys will get to, it's not going to be a big deal. I mean, yes. So the more magnet you add to the car, right? I mean, if you crank the power supply all the way up, things would be rocket ships. But you're not going to do that anyway.
Yeah.
So those motors, I mean, at 12 volts, they last pretty much forever. You know what I
Okay.
mean? I mean, they'll run a super long time at 12 volts. I had guys that would come into the shop that were running at 24 volts, and they were burning stuff up faster because eventually they wear out, and you're going to wear them out twice as fast at 24 volts, if not 3 or 4 times as fast at 24 volts compared to 12 volts.
Right.
So as long as you're running, I mean, and you're probably, what are you running, 8?
Yeah, about 8 or 9 volts.
Yeah, those things they're gonna last for
At
a
max.
long, long
Okay,
time.
cool. All right, thank you.
No problem. Fine.
Okay, so there's 2 buttons on the transformer, which I don't have here in front of us, but the left side is the fine-tune one, which we really don't have to deal with too much.
Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to go, like, let's say you got it at 7 volts and you say, okay, hey, we got a bunch of adults, we want to crank it up to, let's say, 9 volts, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then you can use the coarse adjust. They call it coarse and fine, I think. But you use the coarse, and that one changes it rapidly.
Yeah.
And then gets you in the neighborhood, and then you use the fine adjust to dial it in. Like,
Okay.
if you're at, like, you're trying to get to 9 and you get it to 9.3 or 4, well, then to get back from 9.3 or 4 down to 9, you use the fine adjust.
Ah, okay, because I was wondering, I was trying to use the course adjustment to tweak it down to 9. I kept going in between. Okay,
it's harder with the coarse adjustment.
Okay, I see. All right, but that's not really our game anyway. Will you probably use the course nonetheless?
Let's make sure. I did count. Make sure I didn't miss.
I think you counted 27.
Yeah, I'll make sure.
Yep, thank you for that.
Okay.
So here's the package of braids, which we picked up, and that's H&R, so we remember, and then it's 30 pairs of braids, and I believe that was around $40. Oh, and here's 2 more, Oliver. Oh, you got them over there. And these are the tires that are solid silicone. Yeah. And while we're at showing things, here's the oil that we're almost out of. But for $5, we can get one of those down the road if people are using that rather than just spilling it everywhere. Okay.
Because I think the first ones I told you were $14.95, but they just have fancier rims on.
And these are $12.95 each for a pair of new tires, which again will last indefinitely, providing they're not crunched in that small box with all the other car parts, and then they've got indentations in them, which can take away from the speed of the car.
If you flat spot them or something, you might need to replace them at that point, but other than that, you're not going to need to replace them.
Okay.
And I meant to tell you this. I think you put a thrust bearing in there. You can't really see it, but if you take this wheel off, this one here, you're going to pull the tire off or whatever, and then you can pop this up. But if you pop this off, there'll be a washer. I think he typically puts 2 washers in between the wheel and the bearing. So
I think I have those washers.
Okay.
Let me go get some and show you and confirm that they're the ones that we were using. We were using them actually for the body because the bodies have been so broken up. But you told us to use tape. Was it a certain kind of tape, was it?
They have like a...
they
have like a bulletproof tape or whatever, I think, that you can use to kind of to
we
do
were
that.
using the washers that were used for this axle. And what was that doing again? The washers?
So it's just making a thrust bearing. So they'll eventually kind of wear away in there or whatever. But it's helping the wear on the bushing, so you don't have the wear on the bushing itself in there. It just, the wear is being taken up by those 2 washers that you put in there. Now you'll see eventually the washers actually will wear down to nothing, and then you can slap another couple on there. But it just helps you keep everything longer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
And running better.
Here's a sample of the washer that Oliver was discussing, that circular thing, and it was used on the axles. But this is that bulletproof tape, which helps to keep the car, it's already cracked, compromised, and that allows it to be able to kind of repair itself. So when you put a screw on there so that the body goes onto the chassis, then it's better than using a bunch of washers and constantly increasing the size of your little screws, which are in there as well, even though it's blurry. We kind of agreed that this is more cloth tape than bulletproof tape, which can easily acquired at a hardware store, and then you can use that to reinforce the body that's been beaten up so much.
It's taken some abuse.
Yeah, been around. And that's about it, my friends, for all the maintenance and things that we're doing. We're currently looking at stickers and numbers and things.
Yeah, these are kind of the stickers that I'm going to be giving you are going to be kind of similar to this. Now, you could maybe get a water slide that might be more sponsor type related.
What do you mean by water slide?
They don't just peel off and stick on. You gotta be soaked with water and then like set or whatever. I don't really Brad knows more about the decal stuff than I do, but
Okay.
he's the modeler guy in the group, obviously. But
Okay. Well, as far as just getting
but I
some
mean,
numbers
that would get you by at least.
yeah,
You know?
cool. All right, and that's about it for slot cars today, and hopefully forever. Then the maintenance on the track. Do you have any lighter fluid with that, or just the lint brush?
The only thing I would do on the track surface is just keep debris off of it. You know, vacuum out the slots maybe, and you know what you could use. Go to a paint store and they'll have a brush that's like it's like a like one of those paint rollers, except for it's a sticky like a lint roller. It'll be like this big.
Big.
So if you wanted to clean the track with that, at a paint store, it'd be, I don't know what they call it, but it's like a paint roller with the sticky tack stuff on it.
Okay.
So that might be good for just kind of getting debris off of the surface of the track. That you could vacuum the slots if you get rocks or any anything that goes down in the slots. You could vacuum that out, but you don't want to take a lighter fluid onto it or any kind of cleanser like that, because what happens is whatever silicone that gets laid down from the tires onto the surface of the track, you want to keep that on there so that you get a better traction, because when it kind of has like a layer of silicone down on it, the tires will grip better. If you clean that stuff off with like a naphtha or a lighter fluid or a cleanser like that, the cars are going to want to slide more, and they're going to want to be like you're ice skating more. You know what I mean? Because,
but the lint brush would get a lot of the lint off.
Yeah, that just gets the hard physical debris pieces off.
Yeah,
That's what you want to get off.
Yep, yeah, because that ends up on the tires, which slows them down.
Well, yeah, that makes them slicker, and then they want to
spin out.
Yep.
Okay, cool. I think we got the track maintenance covered, and we're all good. Thank you.
No problem.